Hey everybody. Today I am delivering the super cool news that the show is now called Cassette Cult in a very, very super cool costume that I handmade, obviously, based on an album that I love a little bit too much. And we're gonna talk about some spooky bands to celebrate the fact that this is Halloween week, and y'all probably dressing up as like slutty, Princess Liz and stuff. Not to shame anybody, y'all should dress up whatever the fuck you want to because it's Halloween and it's fun as hell. The show is called Cassette Cult because you guys don't like cheesy Manowar, Judas Priest references, Steel to Real, rest in peace, but it's now called Cassette Cult, and we even have a killer graphic that was made by a Toronto-based graphic designer. His name's Sean Vincent. Look him up on facebook.com/obscurevisions. Now, let's get into some music. It's Halloween, which means I gotta put on my spooky mask, put up my spooky hood, listen to some goddamn spooky black metal. And the first band that we are talking about is somebody that is very high on my best of 2018 so far list. That band is Spectral Wound. They are from Montreal, and they play absolutely malevolent, shrieking, melodic black metal. Let's listen to it. There we go. Holy shit. I don't even need to give you a taste of the vocals for you guys to know that this is great, shrieking, melodic, malevolent black metal. It's got stuff in common with a band that is very popular right now. That band is Migwa. Also, a lot of things in common with Finland's own Sargeist, and bands like Dissection, who I think all of you know and love, and if you don't worship them, then you are kind of crazy because they're rad. Spectral Wound is from Montreal, as I said, and this album is just incredibly impressive. I actually ended up buying it also on vinyl and getting myself a long sleeve from the band, which was a gift from them, so thanks a lot to those guys. I definitely recommend that you check this one out on Bandcamp because it's sold a lot of copies for an independent release. What is an independent release? And it's because it is just vicious and incessant and has all the things about melodic black metal that I love. The next band that I'm gonna talk about is a Chilean heavy doom, psychedelic, all sorts of things band. That is the band DEATHSVN and their cassette Children of the Dead Sun. I got sent a really killer care package from my buddy Christopher, who is Chilean. He owns Entheos Records. They put out this cassette. They also put out Tanith, new traditional heavy metal band featuring Russ Tippins from Satan. As I was saying, DEATHSVN is great. They play trad metal and doom, and they're actually a follow-up band to his previous project called Metal Grave. Very killer stuff. Metal Grave rules, really love it. And now, we should listen to it. Goodbye, baby.
While
want to turn something like that off because the vibe's really good. It's got those weird warbling vocals. And I mean, look at this killer insert. So cool. I love getting cassettes and getting these weird little items in with everything. It's really awesome. Not only that, but because I have a prior history with Metal Grave, it's great to hear that the projects are going, or that the members of the project are going on to do something else that is also really good. And these guys right now are recording their full-length debut. I'm pretty stoked overall on DEATHSVN. They do remind me of the almighty In Solitude, who y'all should know, the world, the flesh, and the devil. And my colleagues made a fairly salient point about the fact that it's got some real gothy and post-punk vibes, and I am really all about that. If you want to hear another band that has those kinds of gothy post-punk vibes right now, Idle Hands, they are another killer project who's got that same influence. As for Chile, I might be talking about more heavy metal from that country real soon. The third and final band that we're going to talk about is the killer black metal band called Meninas Desmos. They're from Belgium. This is their Dawn of Morbid Sorcery EP. And holy shit, does this thing sound like it was just an amalgamation of dungeon synth and really primitive black metal. And it fucking rules. I had to put my costume back on because right now I'm just imagining I'm like one of the cult leaders in a Full Chief movie, and it's like I'm a extra in Conqueror and it rules! Meninas Desmos released their debut full-length this year. It's called Ancient Spells of Darkness via Nuclear War Now Records. If you're into their very like lurching, cold, primitive style of black metal that's very atmospheric and dungeon synth oriented, then I would also recommend a Finnish black metal band called Starcave. Thanks to Fenriz of, you know, Dark Throne and his show Radio Fenriz for introducing that band to me. All right, everyone, that is it for the first official episode of Cassette Cult. I do have a few housekeeping things. I have a huge backlog of cassettes because you guys have been sending me tons of music, which is awesome, but I don't need anything else this year. I'm gonna be reopening submissions in 2019. I just don't wanna be getting a bunch of cassettes that I can't review for all of you guys because I know how much time and effort and money and all that stuff goes into it. And secondly, if you're into this band, you know, Blue Oyster Cult, let me hit you on the head with this again. If you're into this, then I've got two recent bands that I would really recommend. First one, Hallis. They're Swedish. They sound like a mixture of Uriah Heep and Wishbone Ash. And if you haven't heard the song Star Rider, then I highly recommend that you go over to YouTube and you check it out because it is a straight fucking bop. I know that we're not supposed to use that in metal, but it's a straight fucking bop. And the other band that I want to recommend is a Canadian band because we've been going all over the world. Well, Spectral Wound, they're from Canada, whatever. Canadian band. I don't think they're really together anymore. They're called Order of the Solar Temple. This band's from Vancouver, featured the vocalist that was in Funeral Circle, which is the epic doom band from that area, which I love. But this band is amazing Arthur Brown psychedelic rock, and they do a cover of Blue Oyster Cult on this album. It's called Dominance and Submission, the song, obviously. This is a self-titled record, and it came out via I Voidhanger Records, and if you don't know I Voidhanger, then you should definitely check them out because it's the most experimental, consistent label anywhere. It's great. So yeah, you guys have a shitload of homework to do. There's so much good music to listen to. Make sure you keep worshiping the old and the new classics because there's so much out there to find, and I'm so glad that Cassette Cult is now a real thing. Happy Halloween.